The update on the Aaron Rodgers situation and what you see in the near future on the Aaron Rodgers situation.
Yeah, really no updates. Again, I think like I was talking earlier, haven't had the conversations that we need to have yet. So really no update. But looking forward here to being in Indy and look at these prospects and trying to help this football team.
Who initiates when those conversations will take place with Aaron?
Yeah, there's been some contact back and forth. Obviously, he's had some things on his plate, but hopefully those things will happen soon.
Do you want him back as the quarterback of the Packers?
Yeah, I think those discussions have to happen and making sure that it's the right fit. But obviously, we know the kind of player that Aaron is, and once we had those conversations, we'll be able to move forward. We'll have more to say.
You sat down with Aaron at the end of the season. I mean, what was that talk like after the last?
It was a great conversation. It was really just about the season and kind of the things that happened that went right, went wrong, and just more about the season than it was anything moving forward.
After the season, when you had your press conference, I think it was 18. The first 18 questions were about Aaron or the quarterback position. Today, I think it's 22 with these folks, and here we are talking about the same thing. Do you have fatigue about this in the offseason, the quarterback situation?
No, I think it's part of my job, So, and this is obviously a big topic that our fans and people want to know about. So it's it really, at the same time, certainly there'll be other discussions we'd love to have, but it doesn't fatigue me. It's just it's been pretty constant for a long time now.
As you go through the calculus of this decision, the two factors of last season being disappointing and Jordan being, as in your words, ready to play, how much do those two things weigh into your decision making?
I think everything's a part of it, I think we're constantly evaluating where we are as a football team and what's best for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, those are daily conversations. So, again, we'll move forward and have conversations as we go, and there'll be a point, obviously, here soon where we're going to have to make some decisions and move forward.
Is Jordan, go ahead.
How does the waiting on the decision from Aaron, how does it affect your process and kind of maybe delay you, and how do you kind of rationalize that?
It's really, we're going forward as usual. We've gone through our free agency meetings or our draft process. So we're continuing to move forward, evaluating and getting ready to build, this football team. And so really, I don't think it's really any different than any other year.
Is this a hypothetical, or is Jordan Love ready to be an NFL starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's ready to play, and I think he's ready to be an NFL starting quarterback. He's worked really hard. He's shown a lot of progression. I know he's really eager to have that, and I think that's the next step in his progression is to play.
Do you have, like, on your legal pad, two scenarios? One, Aaron's back, and then we keep these guys, or one, he's not, we make different decisions?
No, I don't think so. I think, obviously, he's a big part. If he comes back, he's a big part of what we're doing. But at the same time, I don't think that will really change the roster much.
Do you get into speculation or conjecture about just even his desire to keep playing? So many people do. How do you just accept that or process that?
I really take our conversations and what he gives me, from him, as I don't really try to speculate too much. I know it's a big topic out there, but for me, it's when we have our discussions, I kind of take that for what it is and don't go too far beyond that.
With Matt and the coaching staff not here, how is it different?
I think really I was touching on it earlier. I think the biggest thing is just the informal interviews. Everything else pretty much remains the same. Our coaches handled a lot of the informal interviews down in it's kind of a pit area where all the teams are together. We have 45 formal interviews that stay the same, but the informal interviews is what the assistant coaches really handled. They will do those by Zoom now, and our scouting staff has been down in the informal area meeting with players. So in some ways, we're actually able to accomplish more, touch points with these players. It's different, but it's something we've talked about a little bit since 2020 when COVID was here, and we really didn't have the same structure.
You haven't come off many losing seasons in your time with the Green Bay Packers. What is it like to do that, and how quickly do you switch to, all right, we're moving ahead?
Yeah, I think regardless of the outcome of the season, we switched pretty quick into moving forward. Certainly last season was frustrating. It wasn't what we all anticipated or wanted. But every year, no matter the outcome, we move pretty quickly into the next season and moving forward.
How active can you be in free agency?
I think we're going to go through our normal process. Our resources aren't like some other teams, but we do feel that if there's areas to improve our team and opportunities arise, we'll be ready.
restructuring a guy like Aaron Jones, how does having him in the backfield kind of help, no matter who your
Yeah.
quarterback is, but especially if you have a young quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron is such a dynamic football player. You know, having him back there, not only in the run game but in the pass game as well, his experience and explosiveness, just I think, puts our team in the best spot to take advantage of his skill set. And I just think, we're really appreciative of being able to keep him around.
You referenced a lot of unknowns at this point for you. How are you budgeting your time here this week? What's kind of on your priority list?
Yeah, I mean, early on here, it's some of this media stuff. We had some interviews last night, which went really well. It's always really good to sit face to face with these guys and get to know them. So these first few days, it's really more about the interviews and talking to some agents. And then once we get into the on-field portion, it's obviously where I want to be most of the time and what I'm looking forward to. So the biggest thing that we get out of this, obviously, is the medical. But the on-field stuff and the meeting the players is really how I spend my time this week.
When you get to a week like this, do you kind of look at, I want to look at this group of guys, or are there specific guys, or do you just kind of want to see everybody you can?
I'd like to see everybody I can, but we've just got through a little over 2 weeks of draft meetings, so there are certain things that come out of those meetings that kind of focus us in certain areas and certain players. When we come out of those meetings, we kind of have an idea of what we need. Maybe we don't have the whole picture on certain players, so we're trying to finish that while we're here. It doesn't always happen, but that's kind of our process. Is like there's some unanswered questions we might need to answer. If we can get them answered here, we'd certainly like to be able to do that.
Defensively, when you lost Rashawn Gary, how much did that hurt your pass rush? And then on secondary-wise, you lost Jerry Gray as a secondary coach. Talk about the changes on defense that way.
Yeah, certainly with Rashawn, I think whenever you lose a player of that caliber, especially a pass rusher, it changes kind of how you're going to do things on defense. I thought the staff and the team did a nice job of kind of just adjusting and doing different things, but it does. It takes some stress, put some stress in other areas. But I thought we did a nice job of making up for that. But you can't replace a guy like Rashawn Gary when he goes out. Tough to see good coaches like Jerry Gray go. A good opportunity for him in Atlanta. But really confident in our staff and Matt and how he goes about that to replace that. And sometimes when you get new blood and new ideas and different people in the building, that can be a positive too.
Couple more guys.
Brian, aside from the quarterback position, whoever is your starting quarterback, who are the leaders on this team? Do you look at some of those guys, and who would they be in that group?
Yeah, I think every year there's opportunity for leaders to emerge. And I think we have some young players that are really stepping into that. Offensively, you got guys like Elton Jenkins, stepping into that role. Aaron Jones has been a leader for us, but I think that'll grow as this year comes around. So there's always opportunities. Defensively, Jair Alexander, I think, is a guy that now he's kind of into that second contract and he's a veteran player, and I think there's opportunity for him to grow as a leader. Devondre Campbell and Coy Walker, those two inside backers, that's always an important part for those guys to lead. So Kenny Clark as well. So I think there's opportunities. Every year's a different year, and new leaders step up. Is exceptionally important. And I think Matt and his staff do a really good job of kind of fostering an environment for those guys to step up.